he used to go to other regions.
Mm-hmm.
He used to go to other regions and tell people, like for example, people from Ukambani or Rumasaini,
Mm-hmm.
their shares in the government is very small,
Mm-hmm.
so that they should wait, like our shares zao ni kidogo sana, so
Mm-hmm.
wasiitishe maendeleo mengi since
Mm-hmm.
hawakuchagua serikali. Did he
Mm-hmm.
told you guys that he used to discriminate other people from other regions since they never
No,
voted for him?
no. And
He never
Sankale,
told you that.
and
So
I'm not saying he's right in that aspect. Me, I'm not saying he's an angel. I'm just saying we're not going to elect an angel. God lives in heaven and we're humans. And
so
the things that we agree with you or with you, Sankale, is telling people that they should not get resources because they do not contribute more to this government. I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100% on that. But also on the other side, when he shared the whole manifesto of UDA government.
Okay, Sankale, you know the rules of the game. You don't interject wakati wengine wanabonga, yeah? So I would want, if you want to ask a question, you just raise up your hand. And there's a reason why I wanted Njeri to you can hear me now? Now, the reason why I muted, I want a very organized. Can you confirm first, Leon? You can hear me? Jerry, you can hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I decided to interject because Sankale, I want kama mtu akona swali kwanza unainua mkono. There is a reason why I brought in Jerry, because Jerry has been in the United States and has followed this particular tour, because I want us to separate the politics and the we have seen a lot of propaganda online and stuff. So this is a platform where ask zile vitu umekuwa ukiona kwa mtandao, the tour, and that's why I started about this particular tour. Na nikasema, and I've even talked about the young GNZ who asked Wamunyoro the questions that you people have been asking here, and that was a confirmation that the young people, despite coming from different ethnic their language is still the same. So I want us to separate those. So, and Jerry, as you come in, I want you also to give us very importantly, you have put it, the sanction we saw, it is during Wamunyoro's coming there, that all of a sudden the United States is almost, the Congress has debated William Ruto. There are reports that Kenya might be stripped of the non-NATO, is it NATO? The non-NATO member of the Security Council. That is very, 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 again, I want you to address that on how it came to be. We have seen human rights groups also on William Ruto case. And what people forget is a replica of what is happening currently in the country. Now, unaona sasa William Ruto is almost going for UNGA meeting in the United States, and he wants to go with a particular narrative there. So wakati unaona huku chini William Ruto ameanza kupiga wabunge vita, na wakati ameanza kusema amerealize kuna corruption, you have to realize there is an aspect of politics. So let us educate each other with facts. Nataka tutoke kwanza kwa tule tusiasa tuwetu, and Njeri, help us where Wamunyoro has gone wrong in the United States, because I'll also be asking you, why was Wamunyoro meeting one section of a community in the United States, because that one has been also an issue here at home. There was also the sentiments by Wamunyoro that a certain community in this country is the one that controls the business atmosphere. I want you also to help people on those kind of sentiment. Let us look the Wamunyoro tour. How has it helped the country? How has it also paralyzed, or how has it continued to divide Kenyans. Jerry, kindly continue. Before I bring in now.
Okay, thank you, Rusty. For starters, he has done quite a lot, as I was saying, bringing the case against Kasongo to the American government. And I can say that because I was part of also signing those letters to our senators, to our legislators, so that they can all be in support before they have this Congress meeting and debate our status as a non-NATO member. We have all been contributing courtesy of the drive from Rigiji. So I can say that I feel that there was this fear of taking him to the ICC, and somebody can say no, there was no fear, because wameshindwa wakicollect evidence for the past 1.5 years na hakuna mtu ameweza kusubmit kesi ICC. And I feel that that's probably because they felt their life was going to be threatened because they're back at home. But yeye kukuja huku, one, his calls are private, so there is no NIS dropping in on his calls. He's able to speak to the legislators. If you saw the meetings that he had, even with people in Congress, it's heavy stuff. And then he also helped Valerie, the same lady who was accusing him of being tribal. He actually gave her contacts with her group so that she can more advocate of any issues she had with Kasongo's government to those people in Congress. And this narrative that he was only addressing Kikuyus, it's because he went to Ngemi in Seattle. And it's so interesting when people feel that you are pissed off that a community leader is going to be in attendance of a community festival in their community. It's triggering people, which I have no idea. I see there's a Luo festival, but when I was at the Luo festival, I did not see anybody calling him tribal. I've seen a lot of our brothers from Western. They do have their own festival. It's never a big thing, and they're national leaders in their own category. We need to stop hating our own culture like it's a scarlet letter. It's not. We love our culture. Our differences make us who we are. So if he comes and attends Angemi Festival because he's from that community, it makes people happy from that community. But the other meetings, everyone was welcome. We had people from Kisii. We had, when he went, there is a state that he went to, the whole service was in Kisii, an SDA church. And nobody ever complained it was tribal. And so it's like, it's a very bad narrative to want people to hate themselves and who they are. We are different cultures. We all come from different tribes. We have different colors, and it's beautiful. We need to celebrate our differences because we can learn from each other, but not kind of start saying like, oh, you are addressing the Kikuyu community because you're Kikuyu, because you're a national leader. Everybody does that because you are speaking to the choir. When you attend Ngemi Festival, it's Ngemi. That is a Kikuyu festival. So it's not bad to attend a Kikuyu festival. If you go to a Luo festival, like last week, it was a Luo festival. It doesn't say that only Luo people can come in. It says it's a Luo appreciation of culture, and it's beautiful. So I think it was very successful. He has done a lot of fundraising. We are planning for November. Sisi already tuko macho mbele. Now, he also suggested a bond for the diaspora people. He suggested that, alafu hii wiki niliona government trying to run with that idea. Actually, they're trying to raise 34 billion with a diaspora bond. Tulisema hatutawapea pesa. We are not sending money to Kenya, and we are waiting for the next government that is coming, and we are supporting him as a candidate. That's just the reality. Everybody has their right to support who they want to support, but I can say with clear conscience that it was 100% successful. Thank you.
Thank you. Hang on there, because I know there will be a lot of questions that will be coming in your way. Buka, before I bring in Koino, Buka, has Wamunyoro been a dividing factor, as per others have put it? And looking at this particular tour of the United States, so many accusations have come out of it. On the other hand, there are people who feel that he has raised very pertinent issues about this particular regime. And my question, Buka, is Can Wamunyoro delink also himself from the ills of William Ruto, though he was later impeached? We saw during Azimio protest, because during Azimio protest, we saw our Munyoro who was waking up as early as 4 a.m. To go to Harambe House and make sure that police were enough on the roads. Has this particular tour really made an impact? Has it also damaged? Has it hurt William Ruto administration from a diplomatic point of view?
Thank you, Russ. I just want to open my statement by saying that Rigathi Gachagua is the worst of the Kikuyu community. It is the most, he has been able to spread the most tribal bigotry that cannot be justified through cultural events. Just like Ruto is the worst of the Kalenjin nation, and Raila Amolo Odinga is the worst of the Luo nation, and Murkomen is the worst of Marakwet, we can never, ever allow one part of a criminal gang that have disagreed with his gang members to go and whitewash himself abroad and come back clean. It is impossible. After all, I understand where Njeri is coming from, but the fact that young people have been murdered in this country is not something to politicize about raising money abroad. This is crazy. I think some of us need to even call out the diaspora's nonsense, because Wamunyoro was indeed in history of our country from the derelict of Moi dictatorship, when Wamunyoro was the DO and the DC, massacring people and pursuing tribal partnership within the dictator Moi regime. Now he is a billionaire, still walking around asking for alms, where in the United States, where people are doing 3, 4, 5, 8 jobs to make sure that they can pay their bills. This is unacceptable. It is a misuse of positions of opportunity, and we must be very careful not to return that toxic narrative at home that Wamunyoro can be indeed an alternative to a future human Kenya. After all, those successes that Wamunyoro has been able to indict the president of this country to the government of the United States. Who is the United States? The United States are the people who are building military bases in our country and training the police and our intelligence to liquidate innocent people. United States is not at any given time a friend of the Kenyan. In fact,
Exactly. That one we do agree. But Koino, go ahead. There's something you wanted to ask Njeri.
Yeah, so mambo na football kwanza nimeachia hapo. Then was it? Njeri was saying something. Oh, but you mentioned something before I asked Njeri because it's related. Yo mambo na sijui arresting Rigathi Gachagua. Yeah, all that thing Murkomen is saying. Ni hogwash, but these people are scared for no reason or for a reason. But it's for no reason, because let me take you back. And you ask some of us easy when we've always been on the other side of the political divide to also have this thing. Kitambo kidogo nyuma hapo, kama mlikuwa active, unajua most Gen Zs wameanza kuwa active after 2015 last year, ndio wakaanza kujua kumbe kuna kitu inaitwa siasa. If you've been active kidogo kitambo hapo kidogo tu hapo nyuma, kuna siku tulikuwa tumeenda kuswear baba in hapo Uhuru Park. Asubuhi kabisa tukiambuka asubuhi, security ilikuwa imejaa hapo Uhuru Park, tumeambiwa hata hakuna kuingia. Heavily armed security. He was going to be sworn in as the people's president. Kina Kalonzo wakazuiliwa, sijui chicken out, maybe wakazuiliwa. Wakasema hii ni noma. Ogopa charges za treason. Tiangi sasa ndio yeye alikuwa to down media station zote, Citizen nini, hakuna kubroadcast hiyo kitu. They were just shut down. Then security yote ikakuwa withdrawn Uhuru Park. Polisi yote presence ikakuwa withdrawn Uhuru Park. Watu wakaenda kuswear in baba. Do you know what happened? Ulimswear in and nothing happened. Hakukuwa hata na chaos because hakuna polisi wa kuanza kuprovokiana na wananchi, so no stones thrown and everything else ikakuwa normal. And after that, what happened? Hata hakukuwa na ofisi ya people's president and anything. Everything remained calm. So the government vitu kama hizi ati Rigathi anarudi kesho, sijui Thursday, watu wanataka kuanza kuraise alarm mingi ati hivi security ati mali zitakuwa destroyed. The moment mnapelekanga police hapo ndio wanaanza ku destroy property, because when they throw anti gas, wananchi pia wataanza kurusha mawe. That is what just happens even in protest and everything. If these people don't provoke each other, everything stays calm. Watu wataendelea to peaceful protests and do what they want in those protests. But the moment these tear gas are thrown, Mr. Ukirusha tear gas alafu pia mimi nyamazi, if I have a stone, I'll throw it. So if they just let Rigathi come, even the Baba while you are away, and I know Rigathi they are trying to create Baba while you are away, of which nimecheka tu, because if you wanted to create the Baba while you are away, Raila alienda 3 months after the 2013 elections, akakaa huko West for like 3 months, then came back. Okay, yake alienda kutulia, relax. When he came back, the Baba while you are away thing, people just went to receive him from the airport. Like they were not asked any malala na watu waende. Like you don't have to ask people if this guy has that aura. Like just let people go without you asking. But again, these people are just playing into each other's traps. Huyu ana play, huyu ana fall kwa trap ya huyu, ana fall kwa trap ya huyu. But yeah, out to what Njeri was saying. Nilisikia Sankale aliuliza Njeri kitu that when Rigathi alikuwa kwa power, he was saying that shares alienda Ukambani. Sankale, in fact, let me remind you where it was. Rigathi alienda kwa matanga huko Bungoma, I think ilikuwa mama. And the president was there. The Speaker of the Senate was there. The Speaker of the National Assembly was there, sorry, Moses Wetangula. The Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi was there. And you know what he stood up and said? He told them publicly that your development of Shapata is enough. Stop asking for more. That hiyo ndio vote zenyu zilileta. That the votes you had, it is on record. You can go and search for it if applying. That hiyo yenye mmepata imetosha, hiyo ndio shares muli invest. So you cannot ask for more. Surprised bana Rigiji with all the money he has, wenye walifundadi campaign yao 2022. Njeri anatuambia mnaenda kuwachangia and you are complaining that Wakenya hawana kazi. You use that funds to create Kenyans jobs first bana. Mna waste funds kuchangia Rigiji bana, campaign na mnalia ati serikali ikiriti watu kazi, hamtaki kuinvest Kenya, but you can contribute to Rigiji for campaigns. Like they are just the same. Mnaona venye hatuna tofauti na hao watu. Like we are just the same. That is not the point. My point is now, kama mna contribute for Rigiji, definitely is not going there to look for funds and mobilize watu for his political party and make his political party known, and all those things. He's not doing all those things to come and support someone else. I don't think so. Like where I'm seated, I think he's doing all that to come and vie for presidency. Jerry, I want you to convince me that if this is someone who will be close to power, whether as a president or amesaidia mtu mwingine kuwa president, tell me this is someone who will have interest of all Kenyans at heart, will take developments to even people who did not vote for him. Because when he was in power, he was talking about shares, and he was saying that some people have no right to demand for anything. In fact, kwa matanga ya bibi ya Dedan Kimathi, he said publicly, akiambia Raila kwa picha yake, that people are complaining that Kikuyus wamepewa kazi. Akasema people should not complain because Kikuyus invested in that government, and he told the president to decide that, in fact, Rais andika wa Kikuyu wengi because they deserve it. So was he trying to say that they deserve it in terms of merits, ama because they voted for the president? I want you to convince me, because kama mnamchangia akuje like afanye nini exactly, because Rikiji's main purpose ya kuja US was to like mobilize people for his DCP party, like Ikwena more whatever, and you know that so like convince me.
Gotcha. Thank you for those questions, and I guess some of them kind of go with what Buka talked about. I'm with you on this certain points. One, I do not agree na hizo sentiments zake vile alisema this government is for certain shareholders. That is not fair to every Kenyan, kwa sababu every Kenyan has a right to get resources, and that is the whole problem about sharing of resources. Hiyo kitu inakuanga ndio nalimanianga mpaka kwa parliament, because you have some groups in Kenya that are like tuko wengi hatupati pesa, another group wanasema hatuko wengi but we have a lot of land to go from one end to another, so it doesn't make any sense. We need more money. So revenue sharing should be equal. I agree with you 100%. And I also do not think there is any angel on earth. We are going to be electing human beings. And those human beings have flaws. Every one of us has flaws. Hakuna mtu hata Maraga mwenyewe akona flaws. Everyone is like, oh, he's the best candidate. Even him, he has flaws. Even Babu has flaws. If just the other day, and I give a good example with Babu because I think he's such a good story of like overcoming, because he was that, member of parliament, money, all these drugs and all these things, living life, and he shot someone and he almost killed his friend. But the fact that he was remorseful and he did so much to help the life of that person, of the friend that he shot, we forgave him because human is to error, and lazima to understand atuchagui nini angels. So tukisema huyu ni mbaya, like we are living on earth, we're not in heaven where everything is perfect. So we have to also have some form of realism that we are electing human beings. So with these differences that they all have, kwa sababu no one in parliament, I feel like Asige is the only person in parliament who we can say like she has a lot of integrity. She is someone who champions for disability persons, but kila mtu mwingine akona flaws. Hakuna mtu ana flaws. So let's come down to that reality. We're picking human beings. We're not picking angels, and we're not picking gods. So now we then have to determine who among these people who are human beings like us, who among them have the most realistic, who can push the most realistic goals for us to go to the next level as a community, as a Kenyans, as a whole country. Who has the best heart for us? Nani atazondeka jobs, because jobs is something that a lot of people talk about. And when you create jobs, you're able to do a lot. You can be able to feed your family. You can have safer communities. You can be able to take care of your parents. So a lot kind of revolves around our individual success, which basically means we are doing what we want or what we went to school for, and then we can help our families, our external family members, our friends, our neighbors, our community. That's how we evolve as Kenyans. So now we have to look at the panel of people that we have been given. Wamunyoro is not perfect. He has said things that are very aggressive, and I do not agree with them. But I am a person who is realistic because of the things that I see that he's doing currently and he wants to do. For example, he went against Ruto when the demonstrations were happening last year, and he called him out, was like, I'm not going to do this. We're not going to kill kids, and I would rather be driven out of government because I am not going to go with your statement and calling people criminals and the youth criminals because they are telling you that they're suffering, they want jobs. So that's one thing. For me, as a human being, that's something that was very attractive. Second point, when he's coming here to fundraise, you need money for campaigns. You need money to put gas, kwa sababu watu wengi utawaekea gas waende different places from one door to another. You need gas to lobby. You need money to lobby. So money, you need money for banners. You need money for social media, for people who are going to be part of your campaign team. They are going to be paid money. Very few people volunteer because it's their time and it's very doable. So you need money for that. And fundraising is needed for that purpose, unless you have 10 billion shillings somewhere sitting offshore accounts. That makes sense. But a realistic person who is actually asking for money from people, like a lot of our American leaders who want to campaign for either seat, they come to us and they ask money because they know they cannot pull that money from anywhere because they are not people who are hiding money. And when you hide money, people go to jail. Okay, so there have been governors who've been taken to jail. People have been taken out of office because they are taking campaign money and using it for themselves. So asking for money is not a bad thing because you need money to be able to drive your agenda forward. And when the third point is that he has been meeting with groups. I don't know if you have been in other spaces that we have talked about. I am in research. I work in research, and we have a group of people who work in research and medicine. And part of these meetings that he's been having, he's been meeting different individual groups who are going to be setting up shops in Kenya. And shops, I mean companies in Kenya. So we already have the resources, but we are so afraid of setting those things right now in Kenya because of the way businesses are being driven down. Anyone who is aligned, or if you have a political preference, unakujiwa. And we have seen a lot of businesses shut down. Just the other day, DT Dobi just shut down. It's like 73 years in Kenya, but it just shut down. And we have a list of companies that are shutting down and moving to UG or Tanzania. So it's like we are preparing ourselves to do what is right and to set up those businesses and establishments in Kenya once his presidency comes to light, because we know he has done the due diligence to engage us as people with businesses, to engage us with people with ideas who want to translate those ideas on the ground. And we don't do it for free. We are doing it for tax incentives. We are doing it to create jobs for our communities, our families. We are doing it for our economic preferences. So it's a mutual benefit. We are creating jobs in Kenya, but we're also getting something from it. But we cannot do that with a government that is so against business entrepreneurship. Small businesses make up an economy. And if Ruto's policy is to be the business person in Kenya, every business anashika, na kama hashiki inaangushwa. You know, it is sad. I shared with you guys a few weeks ago that I was being told for me to get any SHA reimbursements because I have a clinic. I was being told I have to either put a Kalenjin or a Somali person in my business. So it is already bad that we have all these claims that we have not been paid for. We are essentially giving services for free because we have patients that we love and we care for, and we do not want those patients to go at home to die. But the fact that you are being frustrated because you are not of that certain community, or you are not aligning to Ruto, or you're not his friend or his buddy, it's very frustrating as a business owner. So even creating those opportunities makes it hard for me to expand, makes it hard for me to bring more business, makes it hard for me to use the networks that I have here to set up shop in Kenya. It makes it hard. So governance is important because it translates all the way down to Mama Mboga, to small businesses, to middle businesses, and to large businesses. It translates all along. And the ones who are surviving in business right now, they are totally aligned with this presidency of Ruto. So there is a cut that's going somewhere like Safaricom. It's been given 104 billion for contracts of SHA that they do nothing. So it's like you either aligned with the evil that of what he's doing, or you decide to be independent and do things right, but you're going to be frustrated and you're not going to help anyone. So that's just my contribution. Thank you.
Ras,
Thank you.
neza malizia alafu then you can give, because naona watu wameongezeka.
Yeah. I want you to hang there. I know there is your hand and there is Buka's hand, and I've accepted some of the mic because we were almost ending, and very respectfully to the people that requested the mics, Kowino, you know them. I don't want to lock anybody out. I don't want another debate to start tomorrow. But then again, Njeri has raised and has responded. And the question tonight, I know we have discussed corruption and National Assembly and stuff, but again, we are asking about Wamunyoro. Let us confine ourselves to the activities that Wamunyoro went to do in the United States. Njeri has been in the United States and he has been following Wamunyoro entourage and what they have been. So I really brought her here to separate the facts and whatever that was coming from home and the reporting. So kama kuna maswali tunaweza uliza hiyo direction, ni sawa. The other question, Kowino, wewe nilikuwa nishakuleta kuhusu maneno ya sport and politics.
Mambo na sport naye mtu asiongelee.
Sawa, hapo tumemaliza. Sasa wewe malizia hako ka channel, use like 2 minutes.
Ras, Kowino asituletee attitude na football. Football has been used to justify Hitler.
Hakuna mambo na football. So vijana wapate kakitu. Anyway,
Kowino, you have 2 minutes, and then Buka will have a rejoinder of Njeri's, and then now we go to the new speakers because I've kept Dolphin waiting. I've also kept there's a guy here, I think he disappeared. There are people that I kept waiting, and I'm really sorry for that. I've kept Kelvin also waiting. So after Kowino and Buka are done, and Kowino and Buka will do it in 2 minutes, whatever they will be submitting or rejoining. That is 2 minutes strictly. And then after that tutakuja kwa immediately tutakuja kwa Dolphin, and then tukitoka kwa Dolphin tukuje kwa Kelvin. Tukitoka kwa Kelvin tutakuja sasa to the new speakers that I've added, that is Western, and then tutakuja kwa Academia, and then the man himself Risasi will close this particular session for us. I think that will be the order.
Haya, asante sana Ras.
You have your 2 minutes.
Sijua hata uko na usingizia nini. Anyway, under 5 seconds bado nitarudia, football is good for economy, na vijana wakipata pesa wataipump into mabiashara zinaweza employ watu. Those boys will be very rich when the chan is over, because we are winning chan. That's said and done. Njeri umesema kitu which I agree with you, and we've always said this, and I think I'm so happy that Ras G siku hizi anaweza sikia vitu kama hizi. I hope my friend Fabish was also here, because when we used to say these things na Risasi, they used to walikuwa natuua, they were killing us. You said that there is no one who is holy, and we've always said this with Risasi and I some time back, and we used to get dropped from spaces when we said even in 2027 we'll settle for a lesser evil person. In my case, I don't believe Rick G is a lesser evil. Is equally evil as Ruto and everyone else under that. So they are equally evil. And for me, I think it's even worse because mimi wacha nikwambie, mimi kama someone who is proud of where I come from. You said people should be proud of where they come from, which I agree. Mimi as a proud Luo, I know that if Rigiji is close to power, I know most Luos will not vote him, and if they don't vote him, they will not get developed. He's always made that clear. In fact, when Uhuru was campaigning for Raila, he told people when he went for campaigns, Rigiji said that Raila ameroga kijana yao, pesa inafaa kuenda sahi Central inapelekwa Nyanza for development. That is reckless for a national leader. That is very reckless. So that is not someone you can convince me and is change his mind. He cannot. 100% he cannot. You cannot convince me here today that he can change his mind. So I know Kenya needs change, but Rigiji is not the solution, or anyone that he supports. That is how I take it for me, because for me, I think that becomes somehow too personal. Yeah, because if he supports someone, he will still have shares in that government. Na mara hii kwanza anakuja na party yake. Imagine kama hakukuja na party yake ile ingine na bado ndiye alikuwa ameisema hivi. Sasa now he has his party that are very strong in it. You had said something. I'll also want you to debunk earlier. Ndio maana hata nimetaka kuongea tena. I didn't want to speak up because nimeona watu ni wengi. You had talked something about since Ruto opened the borders, terrorism imepanda. There's been cases of terrorism. I think some issues are very sensitive na atufai tu kusema, maybe because we have these platforms and everything. It was bad. That was bad what he did. But sidhani kama kumekuwa na too serious terrorism terror acts than when ilikuwa hata wakati wa Uhuru, because during Uhuru we had Westgate attack, we had Garissa, we had the Dusit attack and all that. What Ruto did by opening the borders, yes, it's risky and very bad. It should not have happened. Tukianza kusema like vitu kama hizo zimefanyika, there has been incidents, yes, I cannot dispute that, but they were not severe like venye hizo in the past zimekuwa. So I'd want you to clarify that, unless I've not watching news or on the limelight, I'm doing my investigations properly. But I'd want to hear that further, because uliguzia tu Kaiwata and you said kumekuwa na terror attacks, kumekuwa na increased terror attacks tangu Ruto open the borders. So yeah, other than that, I think I'll yield the mic for other speakers too.
Thank you, Kowino, for that. I think Jerry will note that one down. Buka, you have your 2 minutes, comrade.
Okay. First of all, for the sport lovers, we love you too. We don't have a problem with celebrating sports. We just have a problem when sports are exploited by corrupt politicians. So I'm not a fan of football, but I know there are people who love football, just like some of us love other things. But we have to speak when football or church or other cultural activity is being weaponized to to challenge the people's will. So, Kowino, we will not remove football in the new revolutionary government. We will promote football to be humane. We will promote football as a uniting factor, not as an alienation factor.
Buka, in fact, mimi nikikuja na party yangu, shares zangu ni za football. So just know that mimi I want shares na lazima football ikuwe promoted. Thank you very much. Very important.
Sure, you'll enjoy football. Now, there is an aspect of individualism that I wanted to speak to, where people are looking for a savior. So they think that maybe Buka can save them from their own problems, or if Rigiji is there, could save them from their own problems. And that is what American is built of. For example, if you look at even the hip hop music or the music in the United States, they're always looking for one individual to exalt. But that logic is long gone, and you cannot tell me to choose one gang of leaders from part of a gang. It is impossible. There is no better criminal and bad criminal. Rigiji has 4.8 billion. He has just been announced as one of the billionaires in this country. So that money did not work for it. He looted it from the public coffers and through commodification of land and landlordism. So it's important to acknowledge that there is nothing good that can come from that person called Rigiji. So let us not look for saviors. Kenya does not need a savior. Kenya only needs active citizenry that can advance. Even to Rasji can be the president tomorrow, but if he gets rogue, can we stand up and say this is the last? This is what. This is where you cannot pass. So let us not recycle old tribal bigots to. We will be very disrespectful to the lives that we have lost in the street. And the matter has been, there's a lot of blood in the streets that we must dignify that blood by making sure that we make sure that Kenya can come to the country that they died for, not choosing one over the other. And maybe Njere, this is just as a special request for you. I just would like you, now that you are in research, and I'm also, I will not say I'm in academic research, but I could also say I'm a researcher in actual sense. But could you try and do some little research on the effects of imperialism and the liberation of African continent? It may open your eyes because I see you are very innocent around how the imperial core exploits the countries of the periphery. This is a fundamental question. So we are appropriating the Western logic that our countries are being mismanaged. So the idea is that we want to narrow down that our problem is only Ruto and bad leadership. So if Wamunyoro or somebody else comes in, then Kenya will be heaven. No, it cannot be that. We have had Moi was the dictator. We thought Kibaki will change things. We thought, no. The problem is more serious than we even think about. We have to look at even these shops you want to create in terms of companies and crying about DT Dobby. BT Dobby is an exploiting multinationals that only comes here. It's just like American companies have relocated to China to extract cheap labor in China. Now Trump wants them to go home. They won't go home. They can only diversify within China and build some things in the United States. But at the very end of it, finance capital is so aggressive that looks of where to support. So I request upon you that please do some research on how imperialism, it will help you a lot to understand the basic of the Kenyan problem. And then very finally is that, we want, why we are on the street, this is what we want. We want that the decisions for Kenyan people to be made by Kenyans without influence, without foreign influence. We don't want Wamunyoro's advice from Joe Biden's and Trump's and all the nonsense in the United States. We just want us to fight here with Rasji and agree as Kenyans what is good for Kenyans. This is important. This is what we are requesting for in this country. The second part of it is that we want to stop digging with a djembe. We want a government that can drive mechanization of agriculture to produce food for our people. And to mechanize agriculture, you need land. So we need a government that can confiscate land from Rigiji, Uhuru Kenyatta, and Ruto and Railas to make sure that we have big land for mechanization. After that, once we mechanize land, we need value addition. That means the excess that we get from consumption, we can do value addition and produce our clothes. And finally, this will inspire what we call heavy industry, the demand for steel in our country, so that Kenya to come back to the development trajectory and not to be an independent country of the global finance capital. This is what we are requesting for Njeri. Ras.
Can I just agree with Buka, Russ? I agree 100% with you on imperialism. And to be honest, I will rather see Kenya go the Russian way in terms of independence. We make our own weapons, we make our own industries, we hire our own people. That is the goal. That's the end goal. Like what Burkina Faso is trying to do, but it's like they're still on the fence on that. But independence is the only way to basically become the best. And That I agree with you 100%, Buka. I do.
Thank you, Njeri. Thank you, Njeri. It's also a connection. It's good. Sometimes we make use of this advantage of this platform also to exchange ideas and connect. And I believe Comrade Buka would be a very important addition to. The two of you can really, because you're in research. Buka is also in research. I think you can have your own conversation outside there. But this particular forum is always also important for people to exchange ideas. Yeah, there's something I know we can exchange with Koino and others that does not. We don't really necessarily to have to come on this platform and always talk about politics and stuff. I believe we can empower each other on this platform. Indifferent. And Buka, kindly, thank you so much for always being that Pan-Africanism. I love the spirit, and you have always spoken about the continent, about the country passionately, and you always point the foreign interests in this nation, and you always call it black and white on how the interference and how much damage the foreign interest has damaged and has affected even our politics in the nation. Always a pleasure, and I'm hoping also GNZ na wengine ambao saa zingine tunapigana, and this also points out to a very sensitive topic that I'll be discussing. We'll be having this week on how the foreign interest has even affected the human rights organizations in the country. How has the human rights organizations in the country shaped our politics and the recent protests? That is another hot potato that I don't want to dive in, but we'll be diving that starting from tomorrow. So keep it here. So I'll be going, wacha nikimbie kwa Dolphin. Dolphin, I think I've held you here for a while, but we are discussing Wamwenyoro. I know we discussed parliament, and William Ruto has suddenly realized that the individuals in parliament he has been dealing with are corrupt. So I don't know which topic is easy with you. We have been discussing also Wamwenyoro return, how Wamwenyoro trip, has it benefited the country? Has Wamwenyoro highlighted very, very, very pertinent issues to the United States? And in which capacity was Wamwenyoro raising these issues to the United States? So welcome, Jaber.
Thank you, Ras. Mi hata nilikuwa nishaanza kulala. Leo sijui ni nini mbaya. My account keeps on dropping. Mkoaje?
Tuko poa, mama, tuko poa.
Risasi amesema umsaidie Mike before Dolphin answer.
Risasi nimemrushia Mike ako sawa sasa.
Oh, so niache Risasi aongee ama niendelee?
No, go on. It is your turn. It is your turn, Dolphin.
Okay, I've been following, though ilikuwa na break, but what I can say is that, guys, we should move away from the issues that had happened before. We all know what has been happening in this country. There is nothing that is new. Risasi we cheka tu hapo. It's true. We keep on coming here telling people so and so did this, did. What are the action points? What are we doing going forward? Because we are out of time. 2 months away. November tunafanya by election. Are we prepared enough? We are supposed to discuss how are we going to execute the things that we've been discussing. We all know that these politicians are bad. We know they don't